Look who it is. It's you. I see you. And thank you so much for popping in to see me. I don't know where I'd be without you. I know where I'd be. I'd be on my own. Are you lonesome tonight? Does your hair look a fright? Thank you. I'm not making little of it. I do appreciate it. Plenty of Elvis fun coming up. But before we go any further, if you can hear a difference in my voice, it's because I've been poorly, sick, whatever you want to call it, this week. In fact, I even had to take Friday off work, which is very unlike me. So I do apologize in advance for any coughing or croakiness or sniffs or anything like that. I do have Kleenex on standby and plenty of water. Of course, if I do need to attend to anything, I will mute the microphone. Yeah, these things happen. Also, I'm not too sure. It sounds a little bit different to me as well. We're doing some work on the studio, and so some of the sound deadening tiles and so forth that we use, we've had to remove just for maintenance and so forth and painting. So it might sound a little bit more echoier this this week. Steve, don't worry about it. Bless you poorly. Yeah, I know. And fingers crossed, I don't get poorly a lot, thankfully. Now I've said that, I'll probably come down with something terrible. So what have we got? I've been excited about this show. I don't know why. I'm just excited for it. I'm excited about the live shows every week, but I just got a little bit more excited this week, and I don't know why. I suppose maybe it was because I saw some very, very nice comments today saying that the people were so looking forward to my show and it's one of the highlights of their weeks and things like that. And I thinking, I can't believe that. So Brent from Elvis Nation, thanks very much. Vincenzo, Susan, and everybody else. I can't mention you all, but you know who you are. Dylan, of course, is a great supporter of this channel as well. As most of you are. Great. Yeah. So that's maybe just gave me a little bit of a G up as well. So underrated Elvis songs. We've got that lined up for you. This Day in Elvis History. A great day in This Day in Elvis History. A live poll. You're going to love that. It actually ties in with this week's topic, the home where the Beatles met Elvis. A song I wish Elvis had recorded. Photoshop of the week. I wish Elvis had sung this song live. Caption this photo. Always have a lot of fun with that during the week. Smoking hot photo. Girls, don't. Topic, of course, the home where the Beatles met Elvis today. Mug of the week. Just something I introduced a few weeks ago just for a little bit of fun. That probably won't last that long because I do have mugs and things like that of Elvis, but I don't have an endless supply unless you want to send me one. As Maxine did. Maxine, who used to be a moderator, but unfortunately she's dropped off due to other commitments over the last few weeks. Hi Maxine, if you're watching, I do miss you. She sent me a lovely mug, an Elvis mug with Super Steve on it for Christmas. Very, very kind. You can call the show later, free on WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook Messenger, and of course you can get into the queue using the Discord link, which is below this video. I hope I put it in there. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I forgot. I was rushing this evening. But most of you now watching, I think, are members of the Discord channel. Or if you're watching this now, you can find Elvis the Ultimate Fan channel on Discord and join. Just click join server. Now, where are we going? Oh, yes. Fan of the Month quiz. And I'm going to announce the winner of March's next week. So make sure you look in next week for that. See, my voice is going already. Did you hear that? And it's been horrible. The weather has been absolutely shocking the last 2 days. Gale force winds over here. I thought we were going to be blown away yesterday morning. A lot of rain. I can hear the rain out there now, actually, and quite high winds. So, yeah, not good at all. Now, my trusty pen. What color will I write the answers in? We've got red, blue, green, or black. Somebody choose for me. Red, black, green, or blue. You can tell, folks, I'm in one of those moods tonight, can't you? You really can. Yeah. Stand by your devices, everyone. Yes. And just make sure that Dylan can't type. Okay. Vincent Spencer says blue. So blue it is. Right. Blue it is. We'll pick another color. All these people saying blue. I thought people would say red or green. Green for go. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, yes, Mark Green. Just a little bit of green. I see what you're doing there, Mark. Yes, I see what you're doing. Maybe green next week. Right. So, as I promised you earlier on in the week, with posting notifications and so forth on the YouTube channel, Discord, Twitter, Facebook, all that, the specialist subject this week is Aloha from Hawaii. It was actually around about this time in 1973 that the US got to see the first airing of Aloha from Hawaii. So here we go. But my first question is, what day of the week was the rehearsal show held? Okay. There was a rehearsal show and then the satellite show. What day of the week was the rehearsal show held? Susan says, wearing my Aloha from Hawaii shirt. Very good. Okay. I'm seeing Tuesdays, Saturdays, Mondays, Fridays, Tuesdays. Oh, Dylan. Yes. I see John has given me the date. Yeah, I was looking for the actual day of the week. But well done, John. Thanks very much. Edward says Wednesday. Yeah, exactly, Deb. You've got a 1 in 7 chance. Yeah, exactly. But the right answer is Friday. And the first person to get that right was Dylan. So, Dylan?
I need tactics, honey. It's just the beast in me.
So, Dylan gets his name written in blue. Well done. And he also gets that ain't tactics, honey. That's the beast in me. I might change that next week when I'm not so poorly. I think coffee is good for this, what I have. So if anybody fancies buying me coffee. In fact, that's another thing I wanted to say. You know, sometimes I'm a little bit down or a little bit jaded or something like that, working through the week's work for the channel. And then I see somebody's bought me a coffee or two. It perks me up. It really does. So anybody that's bought me coffee in the last week, thank you very, very much. I do appreciate it. Thank you. It's just a nice way of showing your appreciation for the work that I do. And you can find the link below, or you can scan that QR code. Right. Here we go. Question number 2. Name the penultimate track on the original album release. So the last but one track on the original album release. In other words, the song he sang before Can't Help Falling in Love. Now, Duncan Campbell, Dylan's World, Vincenzo. Yeah, we've seen it so many times. Yeah. I mean, nobody could not remember that, because all of us have just seen it so many times. And he has such a great time singing that song. He knows it's all gone down well, and he's just so happy that it's all gone to plan, if you like. A big hunk of love. And it's that man again. Come on, folks. You have to stop this, Mr. Dylan Bowen. Here we go, Dylan.
I need tactics, honey. It's just the beast in me.
So, 2 to Dylan. Man, he's quick. Number 3. The original album release was in a particular format. What was that format? I'm going to have a little drink. Drinky poo. Anula says, I've seen it 1 trillion times. Yes. A lot of people saying quadraphonic. Dylan says stereo ? It wasn't stereo. Do you know, I've got to admit that let's have a look. I think Steve does it again. Karen says, I'm going to give that to Vincenzo that said quad, because a lot of people are saying quad or quadraphonic. Quad is as good as quadraphonic. So Vincenzo, if we're talking quad, Steve. Yeah, I will allow quad, actually, because people say stereo when it's really stereophonic. So I would have to be very, very prissy not to accept Vincenzo's. And I hope that's okay with everybody. Yeah, quadraphonic, and it didn't really take off quadraphonic. So eventually it was released in stereo. Right, here we go.
I need tactics, honey. It's just the beast in me.
So well done, Vincenzo Redente. I think it's Redente. I hope I'm saying your surname right, Vincenzo. This one, I've just tried to kind of put in a little bit of this is a bit of a naughty one, I think, anyway. What track closed side 3 of the original album? What track closed side 3 of the original album? And Dylan says, bang goes 6 out of 6. Yeah. Vincenzo, stop that. It's over. Karen says track 3, Fever. Duncan says introductions. That's interesting. Bip. Hi, Bip. How are you? John Rowley says introductions. Brian says, welcome to my world. I'll remember you. Fever. It's over. Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. It was Duncan. Well done, Duncan. And by the way, that's just reminded me, for anybody that follows Duncan on YouTube, Some Old Elvis Guy, he released a new video this afternoon that he did about the Arches exhibition, the Elvis Arch Direct from Graceland exhibition. So make sure you check that out. But don't check it out until after you've watched this live stream, please. All right. But yeah, Some Old Elvis Guy on YouTube. And it's Duncan Campbell telling you about his visit to Direct from Graceland, the Arches, that we've all, well, not all, but a lot of us have been to now and enjoyed. Myself, Priscilla, we've just loved it. And I can tell that Duncan loved it as well. Right, so I'm writing Duncan's down.
I need tactics, honey. It's just the beast in me.
Because it is a track. I know it's not exactly a song, but it is still a track. And the last track on side 3 is Band Introductions by Elvis. Right. Quick one here. As we know, it was a charity show in aid of the Quee Lee Cancer Charity, or as Elvis called it, the Cancer Drive. And as we know again, the Aloha from Hawaii was held in 1973, January 1973. But what year did Kui Lee die? The songwriter who actually wrote I'll Remember You. I can see what people are trying to do here. $75,000. They're trying to preempt what I was going to ask. Juan, you're trying to do it. Dylan, you're trying to do it. Vincenzo, I know I'm getting the years now. Yes. Karen says don't know. Yeah, Scott says cheeky. Very cheeky, people. Very cheeky. And I'm gonna get you back for that. I really am gonna get you back for that. People trying to preempt what I was gonna ask. They thought I was gonna ask how much did the concert raise? There was a load of people there typing the answer. Naughty. Right. Yes. Kui Lee died sadly in 1966. The year that actually Elvis recorded I'll Remember You, and it was included as a it was recorded and then it was given as a bonus song for Spin Out. Right, we've got Vincenzo again by the looks of it. So he gets the beast.
I need tactics, honey. It's just the beast in me.
Well done. But it was cheeky, the people typing 75,000. I like to see the competitive streak coming out in everybody. Oh, I was the first cheekiest on the list. Yes. Yes, you were, Juan. Yeah. Hello, my friend. Right. Now, here's another tricky one, which I'm hoping a lot of people won't know off the top of their head. So I've made it a multiple choice. So wait till I give you the multiple choices. Okay. How long after release did it take the album to go gold? 7 days, 14 days, 3 weeks, or a month? I'll repeat that. How long after release did it take the album to go gold? 7 days, 14 days, 3 weeks, or a month? Alrighty. There's Elvis Nation. Hi, Brent. How are you? I'm still laughing about that 75,000. You are a cheeky lot. You really are. Right. So there was... Now, the fact that it was multiple choice, I've seen a lot of people giving 7 days and 14 days and a month. But the actual answer is 3 weeks. And it was Brent. Well done, Brent. Yes, it took 3 weeks. That's all it took for the album to go gold after release. So you're a bit of a beast, Brent.
I need tactics, honey. It's just the beast in me.
And as always, well done to everybody that took part and got the answers right. Well done to everybody, and thanks to everybody who took part but maybe didn't get all the answers. But it's still a lot of fun, and even more so tonight with those cheeky answers, people trying to preempt what I was going to ask. Now, let's do the poll. No. Let's do the topic, then the poll, because the poll ties in with the topic. And the topic is the house or the home where the Beatles met Elvis in 1965, August 1965, 525 Perugia Way in Bel Air. Now, this is it. This is a good aerial shot of it. And I'm pretty sure that second from the left there in the dark top and light coloured trousers is Elvis. It kind of looks like his walk or his stance, doesn't it? And that could even be, no, that might not be Charlie walking next to him because he looks a bit too tall. And there's something funny going on there in the bottom left of that picture. That almost looks like he's pushing the car, but he's probably just closing the trunk, if the truth be known. But anyway, that's one of the shots of when Elvis was there. Elvis rented this house in Bel Air on two separate occasions, first from 1960 to 61 and then from 1963 to 1965. In 1965, the Beatles visited Elvis at this property. The day was August 27th, and the Beatles manager Brian Epstein had arranged with Elvis's manager, Tom Parker, for the Beatles to come over to the house to meet Elvis. The Beatles arrived with a small entourage that included Epstein, while Elvis had a large group of over 20 people there to meet the Fab Four. Elvis was watching TV with the sound off as they came in. After a few minutes of awkward silence, Elvis told the Beatles that if they didn't have anything to say, he was going to go to bed. Everybody laughed and the ice was broken. They talked about the music for a while and then eventually grabbed whatever the instruments were around and they started playing a variety of tunes. This included songs by Elvis, Chuck Berry and the Beatles, with Elvis playing bass on I Feel Fine. And I think as also Mohair Sam as well. John Lennon says, "We were terrified. He was our idol. I just remember sitting there and him playing the bass and I thought, it's Elvis, it's Elvis, it's actually Elvis." The meeting lasted about 4 hours in total. It was one of the great meetings of my life. I think he liked us. I think at the time he may have felt a little bit threatened, but he didn't say anything. We certainly didn't feel any antagonism. I only met him once, and then I think the success of our career started to push him out a little, which we were very sad about, because we wanted to coexist with him. He was our greatest idol, but styles were changing in favour of us, said Paul McCartney. Now, let's have a wee look here. Here's some lovely photographs of, there's Elvis and his dad, Vernon, in front of it. A giveaway of some of these pictures is that you see the ivy or the whatever that is growing over the wall there. If you're not sure where some of these photographs, and now this is an interesting one. This is obviously taken from the gate by a fan by the looks of it. And the next one, as far as I know, you can even see 525 on the top of that pillar. So it's definitely 525 Perugia Way, that one. There's one taken in April 1961, as it says at the top of the photograph, without the ivy or whatever it is growing on the wall. Lovely shots there of Elvis looking happy. Obviously, these are fan photos, I would imagine. Another one from April 61. There's the ivy growing on the wall again, in case that's a dead giveaway that's Perugia Drive. Perugia Way. And again, another one. That lady there has a cast on her arm. Okay, so those are the ones taken of Elvis at Perugia Way. Now these coming up are the only known photographs taken of Elvis and the Beatles on that night in August 1965. So we can see, and I'll pause this, I think, we can see John Lennon there with the white trousers and what looks like smoking a cigarette. Elvis is at the very, very top left of that photograph. Then we have the next one, which is a colour one. And again, you can see Elvis at the back there with the dark jacket on and the red t-shirt or shirt underneath. And then it looks like a black maid next to him. And then Priscilla in the white gown dress. Okay. And it looks like the limousine is backing off. This is when they were obviously saying good night to the Beatles. And then we've got another one that looks like Paul McCartney in the back of the limousine, and Elvis just above Paul, walking away and to the door. And again, there's that ivy or laurel or whatever it is growing on the side of the wall. Tells you that it's Perugia Way. So those are the only known photographs of Elvis and the Beatles that night. Now, the house is no longer there, unfortunately. It was demolished in 1988, and the current house that exists on the property was built in 1991. Would you like to see what the house looks like now? Or rather, the property that stands where Perugia Way, where Elvis and the Beatles met. Would you? Here we go then. This is Perugia Way today, and there's the gate and the side gate, and you can just see above the gate the house. Okay. And there's another shot you can just see over the wall. Now, this is an aerial shot of the back of Perugia Way, standing on what was 525 at one point, and a nice elliptical sort of shaped pool. And you can see that it backs onto the golf course. And let's see what else we have. Oh, that's it. Yeah. Okay. So just maybe pause that one again. There you are. That's a quick look at the house that now stands on 525 Perugia Way, where Elvis and the Beatles met in 1965. Now, we're aware of some of the things that John Lennon said about Elvis in the past when he was asked. They said that they were disappointed in the material that Elvis was doing in 1965, and George has also said that when he went to see him in Madison Square Garden, he had the white jumpsuit on, and the girls, the backup singer, screaming, and he just wanted to see him in his jeans singing "Got a Lot of Living to Do." Paul hasn't really said anything derogatory, as far as I know, about Elvis. We know that comment that John made about Elvis as well, about Elvis died when he went into the army. Bit of a silly thing to say, really, when you think of what he achieved when he came out of the army with Elvis's back. All right, I mean, we keep going back to the movies, don't we? And I think John even said on Jukebox Jury once, when he had to judge one of Elvis's songs in 1962, that he turned into Bing Crosby, and I don't really like him anymore. There's a few things there where, it's hard to quantify. It's hard to sort of sum up in a few words, what John was meaning, and was he disappointed? Was he just saying it? Yes, John disliked Devil in Disguise on Jukebox Jury. Thanks, Brent. That's right, he did. So basically, I'm going to ask the poll, and the poll is going to be, this is it. How do you think Elvis felt about the Beatles in private? Okay, how do you think the Beatles? How do you think Elvis? Now, please be honest about this. And this is in private. We know that him and the Colonel sent a telegram to the Beatles when they were on the Ed Sullivan Show and things like that, and when he was asked about the Beatles and all this and all that. But how do you think he felt about the Beatles in private? And the options that I've picked are: he respected them, he was wary of them, or he was indifferent. Okay, so that is the options, and I'd love you to vote on it. Nobody sees what you vote. I just see a percentage. How do you think Elvis felt about the Beatles in private? He respected them, he was wary of them, or he was indifferent. Now, if any of the callers that I'm going to speak to in a few minutes wants to give me their, their feelings on that, please do. I'd be very interested to know, and I'll also ask you what you voted on the poll, of course. So, without further ado, I think what I'll do is I will go to the callers. Brent, stand by. I think Brent, I'll choose you first, buddy. So I'm going to put myself in the call, and then I'm going to do this and say hi, Brent.
Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Good morning to you. I think it's morning time with you, isn't it?
No, 3 p.m. here.
Oh, 3 p.m. Yes, I'm getting a little bit confused. Well, good afternoon to you, sir.
Yes, sir. You too.
I hope you're enjoying the show.
Oh my God! Especially the top. Well, first of all, every show is awesome. Of course.
Oh my goodness!
Mate, for a lot of us, this is our NFL Sunday. Okay, this is our.
I'm not going to get my head out the door tonight. I'm not going to get my head out the door.
Right. Elvis is everything on this thing, and it's part of our Sunday, and you help make it happen, and thank you for that. But on this. Being that before I got into the Elvis deep dive, I was a Beatle maniac, and
right.
So I kind of have an interesting perspective with the poll. I think Elvis, even though he probably didn't like, first of all, no one wants to be dethroned, but I think at the same time you could still respect the hell out of the person that dethrones you.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like not personal. I just wish I could tap into what they're tapping to kind of get. Because I think there was a difference because they were kind of charting their own course, and Elvis felt like he was having to do material that other people were forcing him to do, and that's got to be very daunting.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean,
and I think he liked them. I do. I really.
So you would have said respected them then, yes?
Oh yes, because. I think there might have been a little bit of that generational, like, okay, I've been there. These kids are a few years younger than I am. A little resentment about his place. But a lot of times in that world, it's not personal.
Yeah.
Sort of like when Dylan beats all of us at the contest. We don't like that he beats us, but we still love him.
I'm struggling what I'm going to have to do to stop him. I mean, can you tell me, and can you send me an email, right, what his weak subject is, please, if there is one?
Oh, that's what you got to do. You got to analyze his weakness and then strike. No, because it's not going to be jumpsuits. I'll tell you that much. But I'll tell you what. So, Steve, when they went and visited Elvis that day, it was like a pilgrimage for them. And I remember reading in some obscure source, I can't lend to the veracity of it, that John Lennon suggested to Elvis, "I love you. I wish you got back more into who you really are."
Yeah. That's right.
Like something along those lines, not literally, but something along. So I think the Beatles, we see Elvis through historical lenses, the legend and all that. But I think from their point of view, it's sort of like you have someone you idolize, and whatever reason you don't like the direction you're taking, even though I think his post-Army early recordings, anything he put out in 60 to 62 was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, his voice was just absolutely fabulous after he came out of the Army. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, gosh. Not only that, but think about it. His voice matured since he got back from the Army. The technology in the studio was enhanced.
Yeah.
So he was able to put out stereo recordings now. It was a lot of massive technological leaps in that short time. It was a very exciting time in Elvis's history.
Why do you think that John said something like that then about Elvis died when he went into the Army? Do you think that John sometimes spoke without thinking sometimes?
Well, first of all, John was a shock. He loved being provocative.
Yeah, and
that
sound
was
bites.
Part of his shtick.
Yeah.
And when you say Elvis died in the Army, they're looking at it because I think the Army, this is where I think the paths diverged, because rock and roll has always been about screw the establishment, raise hell, and Elvis would always walk two different lines because Elvis raised hell, but Elvis was also very patriotic.
Yeah.
And so his patriotism, serving for the army, to them, from their perspective, seemed very anti-rock and roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Now,
So they're going to see that as him selling out to a degree, that he's becoming more loved by people in the mainstream. And every band gets accused of that when they start becoming more universally liked.
you know, something else that John said as well is he said the only person we wanted to meet when we went to America was Elvis. And then he sort of added, but I don't think he wanted to meet us. So they must have got a feeling maybe that he wasn't that enamored with them, you know.
Well, no, but first of all, too, I hate when people say, oh, Elvis, I've heard this so many times, Elvis treated them like crap when they came. No one stays for 4 hours if you're being a jerk.
No. He didn't know.
You know, if I went to your house, Steve, and you just threw coffee at me, I wouldn't be like, well, 3 hours later we were talking. Well, no.
Exactly.
So anyway, great topic. I'll let you get to the other callers.
Yeah, and I just want to say
some stuff.
I just want to say to anybody that's listening, please, this is Brent from Elvis Nation. If you haven't checked out his superb YouTube channel yet, please do. You won't regret it. Elvis Nation.
The check's in the mail, Steve.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
All the best.
All right.
Bye.
Take it easy.
Bye. What a fantastic call. Yes, Brent, Elvis Nation, do yourself a favor and check it out if you haven't already checked it out. Now, stand by, Dylan. It's going to be your turn next, and I'm intrigued to know, what are you going to say, buddy? How are you doing?
Well, first of all, I stand by what you said. Brent has got the best channel, bar none. It's not even close. So please, everyone, go subscribe to Brent.
Yes, yeah, I know, and I'm not trying to be sort of what's ingenuous when I say that. Is that the right word or whatever? But I really do believe that the stuff that he puts out every week, week in, week out, is just great. Elvis Nation, check it out. Now,
Brent is the best at what he does.
Yeah, exactly.
The type of content that Brent puts out, he's the best.
I mean, he doesn't do the same as I do anyway. He doesn't really do many live shows. He doesn't do call-in shows like this. So we're not sort of stepping on each other's toes anyway. And even if we did, it wouldn't matter because there's plenty of room out there for everybody anyway. You know, there's so much Elvis channels out there anyway. You can go and you can find, and you can go wherever you want, you know, and find them. But yeah, I agree. Great channel, Elvis Nation. Now, you're going to get a check as well off Brent by the sounds of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I should be in debt by now, but you know, all the checks he sent me.
Exactly, yeah.
No,
now,
but I think,
Elvis and the Beatles, what do you think?
I think they respected him because if you listen to the type of music that they were doing pre-1963, a genre called skiffle music,
Mm-hmm.
that was all influenced by Elvis. Elvis, Lonnie Donegan, Tommy Steele, all those kind of people. Yeah. There'd be no Beatles if it wasn't for Elvis.
Well, I mean, even John said that, didn't he? And Paul, without Elvis, there would have been no Beatles. When they heard Heartbreak Hotel, that was it.
Yeah. And plus, not only that, if George didn't respect Elvis, he wouldn't have gone to see him.
Yeah, well,
again.
This is it. Yeah.
At MSG.
And don't forget, nobody's mentioned this yet, including me. Elvis recorded some of the Beatles songs.
Yep.
And of course, as we know, the Beatles sang Elvis as well.
I know. And he even said, you know, this is a song that I really like.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So what we got? We got Hey Jude, Yesterday, something. Yeah.
Get Back.
Get
Back. Get Back.
Yes, that's right. Get Back, yeah. And if somebody knows any more, please ring in and let me know. Because my mind's gone blank.
Yeah, old age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old age is right. So you've obviously voted respect them.
Yeah, because I think, like, I don't think they see in competition. I feel like Elvis maybe kind of heard maybe something like from Me Too or something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like, all right, this is the type of music that's coming out. But I'm not going to follow trends. I'm going to set trends.
Yeah.
Is what I'm good at.
Mm-hmm. Do you know? I've just thought of another one as well. He did a Lady Madonna jam, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Lake Tahoe.
Yeah. Yeah. And he did one. He did one in the studio as well, didn't he?
He did. But Steve, I've done it again. I've absolutely done it again.
What's that?
I've played a blinder.
Go on.
My part. I have found out something I never knew.
Hey, well, go on. I probably don't know it then.
And everyone is going to be slapping their heads because they're going, Dylan, how did you not know this? But I genuinely did not know this, right? So, in That's the Way It Is, obviously. That little known movie called That's the Way It Is.
That little known movie, that's the way it is.
Yeah. So that blue suit that he's wearing walking through the hotel and stuff?
Yeah.
For about 15 years, I thought that was a one-piece jumpsuit.
Right.
It wasn't until I saw Matt Stone's video about the photo shoot with him and Priscilla and Lisa, right? And he said that it's the same one as that outfit. Now, here's where it gets funny. I was like, how can you fit a light blue shirt over a one-piece jumpsuit?
Mm-hmm.
Turns out, I had a stupid moment. It's not a one-piece, it's a two-piece.
Is it a two-piece? Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, that explains why he's got a blue shirt underneath it.
And is it noticeable when you watch the footage once you know?
Wait, once you know, you can't see it.
Right.
It's one of them.
Okay. Fair enough. Well,
It's
I'm gonna have to watch that footage now after the show.
Yeah, it's even tied. Like where the waist is.
Yeah.
There's like a gold ribbon thing,
Right.
or lace, or whatever it's called, and you tie it.
It's great. I love talking to you every week because you always give us something to check out that week.
No, but see, here's the thing. The things that I tell you to check out, because everyone here is like got like decades on, like more decades than me experience. They probably know all this stuff anyway.
Not necessarily.
But I didn't. And like that's what's cool about, I guess, me being the youngest. It's like I give information that people have already known like decades ago.
Yeah, and you squirrel stuff out, and you root it out, you winkle it out, and then you can be very, very knowledgeable, and you can be very informative to the uninitiated, and the younger fans and the fans coming through. And as I say, we can't know it all. I mean, I've learned stuff off you already, so
no, well, I
take
mean,
my hat off to you.
Well, like people say, so much knowledge, but here's the thing: every person that knows knowledge has got a friend that knows knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's silly in my case.
And I also find that people have areas of expertise with Elvis. I mean, your area of expertise, as far as I can tell, is everything. No, I mean, your area of expertise is jumpsuits.
Well, jumpsuit names.
Yeah.
If someone says to me, all right, what suit did Elvis wear in Atlanta, Georgia in 1975? Would not have a clue.
Yeah.
Would not have a clue.
You did well tonight. You got 2. Anyway, you were
well,
looking good. I thought you were going to go for the full 6 again, but Brent and Vincenzo and Duncan stopped you in your tracks.
Oh, I've just come up with another thing, and I'm sorry because I'm holding back people.
You're okay. You're okay.
So I was watching a Beach Boys documentary.
Oh yeah.
And it was talking about Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
And I remembered this story that I read somewhere that like in 1976 or somewhere around there, Beach Boys were doing a song or something, and then Elvis just comes walking in and goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, we're doing a song." And Brian Wilson goes, "Hey, do you want to sing on the song?" And Elvis was like, "No, that's all right."
Yeah, I actually heard that story. Actually, I thought it was in the 70s, but you said it was the 60s, was it?
No, 76.
Oh, it was 76. I beg your pardon. I thought you said 66. I beg your pardon.
Apparently.
Yeah.
But see again, do not take my word for it. I wasn't there.
No.
I wasn't even thought of when this stuff was happening. I don't know.
Right, Dylan, thanks very, very much indeed, and I'll look at that footage again after the show.
All
right. Talk to you. Bye.
Bye.
Dylan always gives us plenty of things to check out, doesn't he, every week? Okay, Vio, stand by. I'm going to come to you now, and hopefully you can hear me. Hi, Vio.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. Hello there. It's It's really lovely to hear
How
your
are
voice
you?
again. Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. It's lovely to hear your voice again.
I never miss your show, but sometimes it's on rewatch. It's not live.
Ah, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know
So
there's a lot of people actually
I
that do.
apologize for that.
Listen,
not
people
participating live.
have lives outside of my channel. No, I just appreciate that they watch on catch up as well as live. So, what would you like
I
to
don't
say
want.
about
I don't
the
want to miss the
Beatles?
show. Um, I was wondering, when did John Lennon said the army thing?
The what?
The army.
Oh, yeah.
uh,
I think people might correct me, but I think it was near the end. I think it was one of the last interviews he gave in 1980 to the BBC. That Elvis died when he went in the army. I'm pretty sure it was something like that. It was in the 70s. It was after Elvis died, because people were saying about, Elvis died in 77, and he said, oh yeah, but Elvis died when he went into the army. So yeah, as far as I know, it was late 70s or 1980. Of course, we lost John in 80. So, but I
Yeah,
mean, what do you think about some of the
that's
things that he
strange.
said about Elvis?
Well, yeah, it was exaggeration,
Hmm.
I believe. But like Brent said, this guy wanted to exaggerate stuff so he can draw attention to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he succeeded most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people said that John could be controversial for controversial sake. He would say things to be inflammatory. Of course, one of the big errors he made was he said that they were more popular than Jesus. And I don't think he really meant it in the way it was taken, but of course it was taken out of context, and it did cause an awful lot of trouble for the Beatles in the mid to late 60s when he said that.
Yes, but it, take it as a joke and as a bit of reality at that time. Maybe with and even today, some people are more famous than Jesus.
Yes, I know what you mean. I mean, he meant it more in a sort of a downfall of Christianity values. I think he meant, didn't he? Of course, and it was a big long interview. That was only one comment from a big long interview, but of course, unfortunately, the media seized on that that comment. And it was quite a while afterwards as well. I mean, I think it was 6 or 7 months after he'd given that interview that they seized on that.
Because if he would have said this in the 60s, maybe 65, 66,
Yeah.
after all, the not so good movies, I would have understood better.
Yeah. But in private, how do you think Elvis felt about the Beatles?
I really don't know, but I believe that he respected everyone.
Yeah.
Until that person proved that doesn't deserve the respect.
Because there
So
was
by default, respect everyone. I believe that was his education.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yeah. His mother and father brought him up to be respectful of everybody. I mean, there was a case of him saying that he thought they were disruptive for the youth of America and they were bad for America. Now, I'm not even sure whether Elvis did say that.
But this is a live interview with him when he said that.
I'm not even sure where that comment came from. I read it in a few books, but again, what is the source for that? We don't know.
Yes, what is the source and the context and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I believe Elvis respected every other artist.
Yeah. So you would have voted on the poll, respected them.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that he's not worried.
Mm-hmm.
You can also be worried and respect.
Yeah, he could. I never thought of that. He could have been both. He could have respected them, but also been wary of them. Yeah, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Alrighty. Okay, Vio, it's yeah.
Thank you for the photos. Great photos from Perugia.
Yes, very, very good, isn't it? Yes, some really, really good fan photos, and it's a beautiful house now that stands on it, isn't it?
Yes, it's a beautiful house, but it would be better if the old house was there. But
Yeah, because
okay.
unfortunately, again, it's sort of part of Elvis that's now no longer with us because it's been, it's been knocked down. But I mean, I can see why
Yeah,
it would have been very dated now, anyway. But there you are. All right, Vio. Thanks very much. It's lovely to hear your voice again. Thanks for
thank you
calling in, and
also.
thanks for your support.
Have a nice evening.
Same
Bye.
to you. Bye bye bye. Okay, we move on and we say, Mark, if you want to stand by and say,
Steve,
hiya, how are you?
I'm all right. You're
Yeah.
not too well, are you? You're not too good.
Listen, I'm
Just
probably
a
making
moment.
I'm probably making more of it than what it is. You know, it's probably just a heavy cold.
Yeah. We've all had them.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, a great show, great show. Yeah, the poll. I think he respected the Beatles.
do ya?
Yeah, I think so. I think what he said in the interview in '72, didn't he? You know, when someone said to him, you know, he respects all artists. You know, the music. There's not a person he would slag off or anything like that. You know, he respected everybody in the music industry, and I think he did.
Yeah,
You know, probably when the Beatles came to meet Elvis in '65, it probably wasn't the best year for Elvis. Obviously, the movies were started to be a little bit downhill. He was probably getting a bit depressed about that. Chart history in the music wasn't as good until probably 66, 67 when he started doing some more great recordings, you know.
yeah,
It's a shame the Beatles never met him in '68. Say if you'd have done the '68 comeback special and then the Beatles went to see him, they'd had a lot to talk about then, wouldn't they?
yeah, yeah. That's
You
for
know.
sure.
So, but I still, you know, I still quote on that. There wouldn't be the Beatles without Elvis, definitely, because you've only got to take their first album. It's all rock and roll, you know. It's all Elvis related in a way, you know.
Yeah.
It's all upbeat, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, he
it wouldn't have been.
he definitely appreciated their music because as we were saying, as I was saying to Dylan earlier on, he recorded and
Yeah, I
sang
was
some
going
of
to
their
say, yeah,
songs.
recorded their songs. So that you know, and that's has it all. And he did. He kept something in his repertoire for quite a while, didn't he? From '70 to about '73.
Yeah,
Yeah. And yesterday was a great version he did in '69, and you know the little mix with Hey Jude as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But I think he respects them, and you know, I suppose at that time, you know, he must have known about. It wasn't just the Beatles. You know, there's the Dave Clark Five, the Rolling Stones, all the groups were all over the charts then. You know, the groups were more outweighing the solo artists at the time, wasn't they? In the mid '60s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good point. So why do you think then that John said some of the things that he did? Are you like the other people that just sort of sound bites and just to get a reaction? Do you think?
Yeah, I think John was a bit like that. Yeah, he's tongue in cheek at times. You know, to say Elvis died in the army was strange. You know,
Yeah.
all the stuff he did straight after the army was all success, and you know. When you think about it, you know, the Beatles copied Elvis in a lot of ways. They even copied him trying to get into the movies themselves, didn't they?
Yeah.
They all did it. You know, they all did it. You know, they all copied Elvis. You know, they can see the success of his movie career.
I mean, a Hard Day's Night was sort of tongue in cheek, and Help was as well.
To be honest with you, I didn't like one Beatles film ever.
No, it wasn't.
They talk about Elvis films to Beatles, and I speak to people and say, God, the films were 9 out of 10 compared to the Beatles 2 out of 10. It was just like, you know, they were just silly, but they were cashing in on the time, wasn't they?
Exactly.
So, and they were the hot topic at the time in the mid '60s, you know. So, but they never had the career that Elvis had. So.
No,
you know.
and they have acknowledged that without Elvis, they wouldn't have had a career. So they do owe a lot to him. Now, just changing the subject slightly, I saw a video of a very, very happy Mark Green the other day holding an Elvis belt. That's a great video. You look like that smile's going to sort of separate your head in half. This is at the Arches, isn't it?
Yeah, the Arches. Yeah, it's a great response. I did do the white glove and got the chance to hold the 669 microphone and the gold belt. Yeah. It's great to to get your hands on them, a piece of history, and Yeah, it's nice to know. Like I said to you, it's going to be extended now to the end of September. So,
Yeah, that's right.
it looks like it's doing well, and that's great, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
it just goes to show how popular he still is, because,
Yeah.
I mean, to think it was only supposed to last for 3 or 4 months, and now it's going to run for at least 12 months.
yeah. Well, I said to you, didn't I, with the new the concert being announced in London in November, there's a good chance it's going to stay on, and I think Elvis will be in the public eye a lot from midsummer now to Christmas, because you'll have all this new AI stuff, the concert being announced.
Yeah.
You'll have publicity everywhere. So that's great again for Elvis.
And then we've got the Elvis on tour stuff to look forward to as well.
Yeah, well, we're just waiting for the next announcement on that, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I heard off a site that somebody said that all them concerts were filmed. At least four of the 6 or whatever, 4 of them were completely filmed all the way through.
Yeah.
And Baz has seen them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was a way of making sure that they never ran out of film, but they'd start the cameras staggered, so there was always be an overlap. Great. Can't wait for it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, matey.
I just think they caught short with the Elvis. That's the way it is, because they couldn't get the full shows, could they? But because of the change of the cameras. But it'd be great to see. That's
all right, mate.
Yeah. Cheers, Dave.
Cheers, Mark. All the best. Bye. Bye. Okay, we move on. Priscilla, stand by, because we are going to say hi, Priscilla. I think I've caught her unawares.
I was trying to unmute myself. The screen had gone blank.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Steve. And you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear you're under the weather.
Listen, come on over and you can mop my fevered brow.
Well, I tell you, thanks for showing up, though, Steve. That's all I can say. Thanks for showing up.
The show must go on.
Your efforts are being greatly appreciated on an ongoing basis.
Thank you very, very much. You're very kind. So I know you've got lots of things to say about Mr. John Lennon and the Beatles.
I sure have. I'm going to apologise in advance to Brent, okay?
Oh, right. Okay.
Because there is no Beatlemania in my neck of the woods.
Oh, right. I mean, I can take him or leave him,
Yeah. I have to tell you, I don't know why. It never floated my boat. Never. And it's a bit like what Mark said too. I never watched the Beatles movie through because I could never bring myself to endure it.
Yeah.
And that's what it was, an endurance rather than an experience.
Yeah.
That isn't to say that I don't appreciate that they had a huge and still have a huge following, but I was never attracted to their music.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Now, I suppose a lot of the things I'm always trying to find the positives in things, Steve. A lot of the things that are now quoted that John Lennon said or Elvis did, or they're all taken out of context, and neither of those people are here to fight their own corner, for want of a better description. And so I think that what we're the information we're being fed now are just little sound bites, snippets. They are taken out of context in a lot of situations. So I don't give them any weight, really. If that's, I think when you take something out of context, you can make it have any connotation you'd like.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying earlier on about the Jesus remark that John made, I mean, that was just one remark in a big, long interview. And probably when he said about Elvis died when he went into the army, he probably said a lot more than that, but they just picked up on that part.
Well, I suppose maybe, and there's lots of things I can't even begin to think of, but I suppose there was a change in Elvis when he came back from the army. He wasn't the new thing then. There was more new things. And the reality is, and the basis of the Beatles and a lot of other of these bands, Bowie, I don't know, the Stones, all of them attribute Elvis to be a major influence in their lives.
Yeah.
And so for that, Elvis is always going to be number one, isn't he, Steve?
Yes, for me he is. Yeah,
Yeah,
he'll never be
I
replaced.
mean, the stats speak for themselves. That what bands we are now still acclaiming are saying that he is the reason they were who they were and who they became and why they became what they did. So yes, he's always now. Do they have a place in rock and roll history? Of course they do. And there are people as avidly excited by the Beatles as I am about Elvis, and I can stand here and say I understand that, but it doesn't float my boat, and for that I hope that I'm not offending any Beatle fans.
I know. I mean,
that isn't my intention. I'm
yeah,
not
no.
saying that to be controversial. It's my honest opinion.
Yeah,
Their music never floated my boat.
So,
There's lots of
but I
other
mean,
bands that I never followed either.
what do you think that Elvis felt privately about them?
Yeah, so I think that I may have misinterpreted your question earlier, but now that you've said it again, I haven't. So privately, I think he was wary.
Oh, right.
I do think he was wary. Now, that isn't to say I don't think he respected them.
Uh-huh.
But if we go back to that statement that we hear, and, regularly Elvis doubted or didn't want to be forgotten or wondered how long he would be where he was or how long he'd be remembered. Elvis mania was taken over by Beatlemania. I imagine that they were the new young blood, and that may very well have been an instigator for Elvis's I don't know.
What
I
you mean?
suppose everybody wants to. Somebody said earlier, dethrone the king, or
everybody wants to knock somebody off the the pedestal. Yeah.
No, and I don't think that's what they wanted to do. But I think that's how it may have felt to Elvis. And though every career has peaks and troughs, and at the time that they were belting away at that stage, he was stuck in that terrible cycle of movies. So he wasn't the best version of himself. Yeah. And was it Mark said there that wouldn't it have been great if he'd met the Beatles after 68?
Exactly.
It would have been
a
different meeting altogether.
Yeah, of course it would.
I mean, every career has peaks and troughs.
Yeah.
And I suppose the reason I believe he was wary of them is, yes, he could see that he was no longer, or that there was new bands coming up and they were experiencing the same levels of success and mania that he had in his early career and was continuing to do so. So I think, yes, I think he's a human being, and I always say this, and the thing that fed my love for Elvis is that humanitarianism in him and the human side of him, the fact that he was human and that he did have faults, failings, and he did think, and we need to forget that he's Elvis the musician and remember that he's Elvis the man behind it as well, which in turn helps Elvis the musician. But I think that he had all of those insecurities, and lots of his life partners have said the same, through interviews with Linda Thompson and Ginger and my namesake. He worried about being forgotten. He felt lonely. Everybody knew who Elvis the musician was, but not lots of people knew who Elvis the man was. Mm-hmm. So I think on that basis, yes, he would have been wary by the success he saw the Beatles experiencing. Yeah. But that isn't to say that I wouldn't have also answered, yes, he respected them.
Yeah, see, that's it. You see, he could have respected them, but also been wary of them, couldn't he? Yeah. Never thought of that.
And that's what I genuinely think, Steve. And I think that the situation as we see it now is with the benefit, and I've said this to you before on numerous occasions, the benefit of 20/20 hindsight.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And people who are not here to defend what may have been misquoted or taken out of context, and that has a reflection on the individual. So I'm not going to go bashing John Lennon for that comment, because there's no point. I don't think we should bash anybody. No. I think we should all kind of coexist peacefully and in the wonderful harmony that listening to that man's music brings us.
I agree. It's always lovely to hear you. You've been off the scale for a few weeks, but it's lovely to have you back.
Thanks, Steve.
Alrighty.
I've had a bit of a family situation going on. I've
Oh,
a
have you,
sick
sweetheart?
relative and
All right.
taken up a lot of my time. So I have watched on catch up, and I have actually, you know what what I've learned, the benefit of watching it on catch up is you actually get to read all the comments, and they're so funny.
True, yeah,
And
yeah. And if you
it's really, it's
and if you
adorable.
if you're watching it on catch up, anybody, don't forget to take part in the quiz as well, just for fun, because I always forget to say that.
Oh well, now here, what? Don't bother, lads. Don't bother. It's not worth it.
Okay.
With dynamic Dylan and all the knowledge that exists out there, I just enjoy, being here and shouting at it. That's what I enjoy.
Alrighty. Cheers, Priscilla.
Thanks,
All
Steve.
right. Have a
Great
good
show,
week.
babe.
Have a good week. Bye.
You too, babe. You too. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Right. Okay. I've got to take a call here, actually, because I saw one coming in, and I when I was talking to Priscilla, obviously I wouldn't want to cut Priscilla off, so I was seeing if I can raise this person. It's ringing anyway. I hope you can hear me.
Hello.
Is that Cheeky Juan?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I led everybody like the good. I was like the Pied Piper tonight, leading everybody.
Yeah, everybody thought
$75,000.
Yeah, everybody thought I was going to say, how much did the charity concert raise? And everybody was typing 75,000, 75,000, and that wasn't even the question.
No,
How are you?
that was so good. Really good. Yeah, it was a great show.
Thanks
Great
very
show.
much. So what are you doing with yourself these days? You're busy on the touring circuit, yeah?
Yeah. We've just got a couple of days off now, and then I go straight out to Benidorm for. I got a couple of days break out there, which is nice. So hopefully I can work on a little tan,
Yeah.
a sort of paradise Hawaiian style.
That's what you need.
Yeah, no. But what you didn't see on the thread further down was I just wrote the word Steve Binder, and I said after that, that's the answer to next week's question one in the quiz.
There probably will be one now on Steve Binder now, thinking about it. Listen, have you got any thoughts on this John Lennon and the Beatles and what Elvis thought of them?
I do, because what I wanted to comment on was that having heard you mention the particular songs that Elvis had covered, all of them, because I became a bit of a Beatles historian when I was a teenager, So it's just like Brent earlier. I sort of had a great love for both camps, for the Beatles and Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting to me that, so I studied particularly the both of them, the front runners, John and Paul, because I'm a songwriter myself. They were my primary influence as a songwriter, But I noticed that Elvis, if you look at all those songs, even the little dash of, what did you say, Lady Madonna that he did?
Yeah.
Every one of those songs, interestingly enough, were Paul's. They were all Paul's. Hey Jude was Paul's. Except of course for the Beautiful Something, which wasn't which was George's.
Yeah.
So what was I point this out to a lot of Elvis fans, that strangely enough, from Elvis's covering of their catalogue, John's songs are conspicuously absent. Now I don't think that's because he disliked John. The other comment that I believe Elvis would have, if he'd spent more time with the Beatles and they with him, I believe that they would have been really, really firm friends, because I've been told by a number of people that when Elvis ever got onto because Elvis had everything first, and if there were videotapes, he'd be the first to have them. He was the first to have a phone in the car.
That's right.
But Charlie Stone told me once, he said, oh, Elvis, when Elvis used to get onto the Lisa Marie, he'd like nothing better than either watching Peter Sellers, the Clouseau films, the Pink Panther films, or the madcap humor of the Monty Python team.
That's right, yeah.
Now, that was something the Beatles really loved. So I think that they would have been firm friends had they spent more time together, because, A, they shared a love, of all that old R&B music. They loved Elvis. And I think quite rightly, like Priscilla said earlier, that all these soundbite things, and with the fact that John, yes, he used to like to shoot his mouth off.
Yeah.
I think that all that is pure hyperbole, and I think they would have been the firmest of friends,
Yeah.
And I'm sure they, just like Tom Jones said he would, I'm sure they would have shown him around the UK proudly, and developed a great friendship. But having mentioned the songs, which were all Paul's, there is a school of thought that says that Paul was more geared to the melodic,
Yeah.
and so Elvis's love for melody perhaps drew him more to the Yesterdays and the Hey Judes, and of course George's Something is a beautifully melodic song.
Oh yeah.
But I, as an Elvis fan, I used to veer towards John's songs as a Beatles fan. So I think Elvis would have done a great job on somewhere like Nowhere Man or In My Life, which is my favorite Beatles song of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd have done a great version of Revolution, or You Say You Want a Rebel. I think Elvis would have really nailed that song, and they are all John's. So my one regret about Elvis and the Beatles situation is that Elvis didn't tackle one of John's songs, because mainly by the mid-60s, they were writing their own songs, and maybe John would contribute a line to Paul's, or maybe Paul would contribute a line. But they were individual writers.
Oh yeah.
But by about 65,
you can always tell which is a John song and which is a Paul song. Definitely.
You can't you?
Yeah.
And obviously they would sing the lead vocal on their own song.
Yeah.
So and that's what I think, just to I've taken a while to answer it, but I do believe that Elvis had the utmost respect for the Beatles, and I think a lot of it is aftermath was of the hyperbole,
Yeah.
That I don't think Elvis was a hypocrite. I certainly know that he wasn't, and a lot of the comments about that he didn't really want the Beatles to come in with the drug situation, and now they endorsed drugs. The Beatles maintained that even John, in his comments about Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, he said that's not in reference to LSD. That my little boy came home with a drawing, and he had a friend called Lucy in school, Julian Lennon.
Yeah.
And the drawing was, he said, it's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and it was, I've always believed John about that,
Yeah, but some enterprising journalists thought, oh, LSD. Oh, we know what that's really about, don't we?
Exactly. So it's just my opinion, of course, and my opinion doesn't count for much, but I believe a lot of words were put into Elvis's mouth about the Beatles. I think he thought they were extremely talented, and having said himself once famously, I couldn't write a song if my life depended on it. Elvis always being this beautiful, humble self, of course.
Yeah.
He would recognize their massive songwriting ability,
Yeah.
None of them were gifted with a voice like Elvis. None of the four of them, Ringo could crank out the odd tune like Yellow Submarine, and George had a pretty decent voice, and of course the two main front runners.
Yeah.
But I think they all would have deferred to Elvis. His vocal stature was absolutely second to none. There's rivals there.
They've said as much. They idolized him,
Yes.
It was. I think in a way it was John just manipulating the media, saying the things he said about Elvis.
It was because I'll try a little John Lennon impersonation for you now, because he said when they asked me for a comment, I said, well, I'll say now what I said then, that Elvis died when he went in the army. So it was like they were in '77. They just wanted the comment from Elvis. Paul always used to say, "Oh, John used to like to shoot his mouth off,"
Yeah, he did.
John was like that. He blew hot and cold, and said a lot of things he didn't mean at the time. They just popped out of his mouth.
Exactly.
That's the character he was.
Yeah, he was.
But if you saw the interview with there's a quick interview with David Stanley, Elvis's youngest stepbrother, the youngest of the Stanley brothers, and he said one time that the Beatles, when they came to play Memphis, they tried to call on Elvis there, but just John and somebody else. They went up to Graceland, and David was living there at the time, was a small boy, And he said John was actually shaking in his boots, like, is Elvis there? He was
Yeah.
because John was the real. Paul was primarily a more of a Buddy Holly fan,
Yeah.
but John Lennon was the really big Elvis fan in the Beatles.
Yeah.
He was the one who absolutely adored him,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there's no greater evidence of the fact that John would blow hot and cold. How can a man who says it was one of the great meetings of our lives? John said that,
Yeah, he did.
But he also said, by the same token, in another interview, he said, Elvis was just like Engelbert Humperdinck,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He'd become like a lounge singer to the, you know what I'm trying to say, don't you?
I do.
But,
Yeah.
That was John,
It was depending on his mood on the day, I think.
Yes, that's you just nailed it, Steve.
Yeah.
John was that kind of character. Very, Paul said often about him, he's a very complex man.
Yeah.
As Elvis was,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think for that reason they would have made great mates.
Yeah.
I really do believe they'd have been
if they'd have been allowed to, because
Yes.
Colonel Parker didn't like anybody to get too close to Elvis, did he?
too close to Elvis. No, he never allowed that. No.
All right, great.
But
Juan,
what did-
what a great call. Thanks very much indeed. Listen, all the best
thank
for
you
your
very
upcoming
much.
shows as well, and lovely to speak to you again, mate.
And you too. Did you know that Colonel Parker and Brian Epstein played roulette that night?
Yes,
in-
apparently they
in
did.
one
Yeah,
of
there
the
was a
Hollywood dance
table.
they did,
There was
yeah.
a dining table that turned into a roulette wheel, I believe.
That's it. Yeah, I thought I'd leave you with one last quote. It's great talking to you, man.
All right, Juan, take care.
I love you, Steve.
See you.
buddy.
Bye
Yeah.
bye. Bye bye.
Keep up the good work.
I will. Thanks a lot. Cheers,
you, brother.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, great call. If you don't know, that was Juan Lozano, and he is a Elvis tribute artist. And check him out, actually, if you ever get a chance. Great. And he actually does sing other songs as well, not just Elvis. In fact, I remember seeing a video of him on social media a little while back doing Love of My Life from a Queen, Freddie Mercury. And it was a real coincidence because it was the week that I'd featured that as a song that I wished that Elvis had recorded. So I wished Elvis had recorded Love of My Life. And then Juan goes and sings it. And there was no he didn't know that I'd picked it, and I didn't know that he'd sung it, but it was a bit of a coincidence. Right, we're going to go back to the calls. Stand by, Duncan. I'm going to come to you now, Duncan, if you want to say hi. How are you? Are you there, Duncan? I think I might. Oh, I tell you. I haven't put myself in the call. Hello, Duncan.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Hi. Sorry about that. That was my technical glitch there. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Are you okay? I'm glad you still did the show tonight. We do really appreciate it.
I tell you,
Although
Duncan.
you're feeling poorly, you still went ahead with the show because it does make our weekends, honestly.
Thanks very much. It's touch and go. It's touch and go. No, I'm not too bad, actually. It's probably man flu. I watched your video earlier on, by the way. Great.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah. So I was saying to people earlier on, some old Elvis guy. If you want to watch that, it's you were at the Arches, weren't you, with the Direct from Graceland?
It was an amazing experience, Steve.
Great.
I've been to Graceland before, but to be in a position where I was able to actually hold the attendance belt, hold the aviator glasses, and the microphone was something else. I found it quite an emotional experience, I have to say.
They've actually introduced the aviator glasses because when I went there, all you could hold was the belt or the mic.
Yeah, well, when I bought my tickets, that was all that you were able to hold, and I believe it was just a week or so ago that the aviator glasses came over.
I hope they hadn't
added on to that.
I hope they hadn't cleaned the glasses. I hope you could still see his fingerprints on the lenses.
They allowed you to hold it up so you could look through the lenses as well,
right.
Which was good. It was cool to be able to see through the actual lenses that he looked through.
Now, were they sunglasses or were they prescription lenses as well?
One of the two lenses they said was prescription.
Because he
And the other one
did
wasn't.
have quite bad glaucoma in one eye, didn't he?
That's right. Yeah. So one of the two lenses was prescription, but both of them were like sunglass tinted lenses.
Yeah. Fascinating. great. I'm glad you had a good time. And for anybody
Yeah, it was really good.
yeah, please do check out Duncan's video on that because it's great to see.
I appreciate that, Steve.
Thanks.
Thank you.
The Beatles.
On the Beatles thing.
Yeah.
So I voted wary of them,
Okay.
but at the same time, I think he respected them, and I think the wary of them, in a strange sense, came from the respect for them. I'll explain that if I can.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that he saw the Beatles as artists who were still
I think we might have lost. I think we might have lost
like
Duncan.
Elvis was more in the 50s.
Oh yeah.
And I think in that sense, it almost brought a magnifying glass up to Elvis, that he was stuck in movie contracts that he wasn't happy with. He was stuck in soundtracks that he wasn't as happy with, and he wasn't directing himself. I mean, Elvis, we know, had such his finger on the pulse of music. He loved music and he knew music. You can see that just by seeing the way he spontaneously conducted an orchestra and a band,
Yeah.
etc. So he was very, very musical. So he would be aware of musical trends that were going on. He would be aware that he wasn't at the cutting edge at that point either. So I think in that sense, he was maybe slightly wary, as other callers have said, that they were this of raw, up and coming kind of rebel type people that he once was. And they were more at the cutting edge musically than Elvis was in the mid 60s. And as was said before, had the meeting happened 68, 69, be it post comeback special, be it around the time of Memphis sessions, then I think he might have felt less so. Does that make some kind of sense?
It does, yeah. But why do you think that John said some of the things he did about Elvis? Do you think it was because, like somebody else said, he just blew hot and cold?
Yeah. I mean, I think, and I do respect a lot of the Beatles' music. I respect them as songwriters, and I do listen to some Beatles stuff. I think John was very, very good at provoking reaction in the media. You look at things like the famous bed in for peace and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
He knew how to push buttons, and I think he was often deliberately provocative.
Yeah. Yeah.
And would say things knowing he would get a reaction.
Yeah, that's
I think it's unfortunate, some of the things he said, but we need to remember that he also said before Elvis there was nothing.
Yes, that's right. We haven't said that
And
yet. I'm glad you said that.
Because the Beatles wouldn't have been what they were had it not been for Elvis. And I agree with what others have said in the comments tonight, that the Beatles as performers, they were good musically, they played instruments well, they were good in terms of production and good vocals, particularly from John and Paul, but they didn't have an ounce of the charisma that Elvis had when he performed.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
There wasn't that warmth between them and the audience, that closeness
No.
that Elvis had when he performed.
That's for sure.
There was an electricity came off of Elvis when he performed, that the likes of which we've never seen before or since.
Yeah, he definitely had something, didn't he? It. hard to quantify what it was, but he had it.
Absolutely, had it in spades, and you can see that even at the time that he met the Beatles, with the types of movies he was doing, he lifted those movies beyond what they would otherwise have been because of that charisma, because of that magnetic personality.
Yeah, that's for sure. So you would have voted wary of them then, yeah?
He had that when he performed musically, when he sang a song.
Yeah.
When he sang any song, it touched your very soul and your heart.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay.
And that's rare.
Yeah, it is very, very rare. Yeah. All right, Duncan, thanks very, very much. That's a great call.
Lovely to speak to you,
All right,
Steve, and I
all
hope
the
you
best.
feel better soon.
Oh, thanks very much. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yeah, lovely call there from Duncan. Okay, I think we have one more caller, and it is, yes, Vincenzo. How are you, Vincenzo?
Hi, Steve. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect. No, so what did you vote first of all on the poll?
I voted that he was wary of the Beatles.
Oh, right. Okay. You think that maybe they were sort of bad for the way the music was going, maybe the youth of America?
Yeah.
And what do you think of the house?
I think the house is beautiful.
The house that's on there now, yeah?
Yeah, it's a beautiful house.
Yeah, it's a pity they knocked it's a pity they knocked the actual Elvis house.
I wish they were left it the way it was though when Elvis lived there.
Yeah, because now we know with hindsight that it would have been an historical building, you know, where the Beatles met Elvis.
I was thinking too bad there wasn't a tape recorder going when Elvis met the Beatles.
Yeah, but Colonel Parker and both Epstein and Brian Epstein said no photographs and no tape recording. The boys want a night off. The only photographs that exist are the ones that I showed, and they were fan photographs taken from the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a shame. But as far as we know, there was not even a secretive recording made, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay. Thanks, Vincenzo.
Nice talking to you, Steve.
Yeah.
Nice
See ya.
talking to you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Right. Well, fantastic calls tonight. Thanks very, very much to all the callers. My Beatles, what's the word? Taste really is sort of from Rubber Soul onwards. I don't really like the early stuff. The She Loves You, yeah. I like the sort of from Rubber Soul onwards. If you're a Beatles fan, you'll probably know what I mean by Rubber Soul onwards. Sort of the mid 60s, late 64, and then from 65 onwards. The early stuff I could kind of take or leave. Thanks very, very much. There is still time to vote on the poll. How do you think Elvis felt about the Beatles in private? Respected them, wary of them, or indifferent? And I will be giving you that at the end of the show, the result. But we do have to move on, and we have to I've got another poll for next week, which is going to be a picture poll. All right, that's just reminded me of that. So we'll be doing that next week. I'll be showing you 4 pictures and asking you to vote which is your favorite. So look forward to that. I wanted to just mention that to you. Now, this day in Elvis history. I keep forgetting. I actually have jingles, don't I? This day in Elvis history. Who is that guy? Does anybody know him? Yeah, okay, here we go. April the 7th, 1955. Elvis performed at the Alcorn County Courthouse, Corinth, Mississippi at 2:30 and 8 p.m. There you go. In person, Elvis, Scotty and Bill, the Blue Moon Boys, tomorrow night, Corinth Courthouse. That was obviously the flyer that they put up the day before. 1956, Elvis flew to Denver for a concert as part of a tour. 1958, RCA released Wear My Ring Around Your Neck and Don't You Think It's Time. It was Elvis's 6th number 1 hit in American R&B charts and peaked at number 2 on the American pop charts. 1959, we have military service in Germany. 1961, he was working on Blue Hawaii. 1962, Girls production movie moves to Hawaii. Elvis flew to Hawaii at 9 a.m. accompanied by his entourage. And the colonel, who was already in Honolulu, had arranged a helicopter for Elvis to bring him from the airport to the hotel. 8,000 screaming fans greeted Elvis. And Tom Moffat, the KPOI AM DJ, grabbed a quick interview with Elvis on the tarmac of the airport. 1964, yes. Elvis had an accident during the shooting of a scene from the movie A Roustabout and had to have stitches next to his eye. He took 1 day off. A bit like me this week, I took 1 day off work. Producer Hal Wallace said, "We wrote a new sequence into the script showing Elvis having an accident by crashing the motorbike through a picket fence." Yeah, when he's driven off the road, when he's just after Wheels on My Heels. You'll see him with a black eye in the picture. We haven't shot that sequence yet. We'll shoot it after the eye gets better. So that was on this day in 1964. 1965... We have MGM releases Elvis's 17th movie, Girl Happy, nationwide. Girl Happy opens and is the 25th top-grossing film of the year. The soundtrack hits number 8, while the non-movie single, Crying in the Chapel, hits number 3. And also, he was working on Harem Scarum. And we have Clam Bake production. 1968, Live a Little, Love a Little. Las Vegas, Nevada, April 7th. 1968, Elvis met French music hall artist Line Renaud for the first time while in Paris. He met her backstage at the Casino de Paris in 1960, and they promised themselves to meet again. Elvis kept his promise and attended her first Las Vegas show. The actor Edward G. Robinson was also present for the Renaud opening, and you can see the picture there with the three of them. 1969, Change of Habit. 1971, Tom Parker agrees a new deal with RCA that will allow for 3 new releases per year of the budget Camden label. The albums will feature 10 tracks, mostly movie leftovers, and some previously released material. I'll just remove Roustabout there. 1972, here we go. More photographs. Elvis performed at the University of Dayton Arena, Dayton, Ohio. I might just take an opportunity to use a Kleenex, if you'll excuse me. You can have a look at these shots from Dayton, Ohio. I do apologize for you having to see me do that. I tried to move off camera. Okay, yeah, there's Dayton, Ohio. 1976, Elvis was in Memphis until the start of the next tour, which was due to begin on April 21st in Kansas City. Alrighty, so there you are. I'd like to remind you, you can send in your ideas to Elvis the Ultimate Fan channel, or you can send them in to me on social media. If you follow me on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, or you can send them in to Elvis the Ultimate Fan channel at gmail.com. Underrated songs, Photoshop, smoking hot photos, songs you wished Elvis had sung live, funny caption photos, suggest a topic for discussion, all those sort of things. And don't forget, yes, we have that wonderful, wonderful Discord channel. We've got Elvis Pick of the Day, which everybody votes on, and then there's a winner of the month. There's winner of the day, and then there's a winner of the month. And as you can see, some great photographs sent in. And we also have Elvis chat, Elvis fans chat, where you can get together and chat about all things Elvis. And we also have an off topic as well, and a YouTube and announcements and Elvis related items and all those sort of things. So please do join in. I will drop a link below this video with an invite for you if you haven't. Right, Photoshop. Yes, I know you love these. Oy, oy, oy. Yes, here we are. It's this one. I think I've done this one before, but I wanted to revisit it because I keep seeing it posted. And basically, it's the only thing that's Elvis there is his face and the little lock of hair that's falling on his forehead. They've obviously tilted the image a little bit as well, but it's from Double Trouble. It's not his hands, it's not his shirt, it's not his glasses. You can tell actually that's not his hands. That's definitely not Elvis's hands. So if you want to send me in any Photoshops, the ones you see that keep annoying you, I'll keep showing them if you're not sure of them anyway. So that's this week's Photoshop. All right. A song I wish Elvis had recorded. Now, don't forget that you can still vote on that question. How do you think Elvis felt about the Beatles in private? Respected them, wary of them, or indifferent? A song I wish Elvis had recorded, and it was sent in by a caller earlier, suggested by Vincenzo. Thanks, Vincenzo. And it's When I Need You. is a popular song written by Albert Hammond and Carol Bayer Sager. Its first appearance was on the title track of Hammond's 1976 album When I Need You, obviously. Leo Sayer's version, this Leo Sayer, was produced by Richard Perry and was a massive hit worldwide, reaching number 1 on the UK singles chart for 3 weeks in February 1977, after 3 of his earlier singles had stalled at number 2. It also reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for a single week in May 1977. It was lifted from Leo's album Endless Flight. And Vincenzo wished Elvis had recorded his version of When I Need You. What do you think? If you're not familiar with that song, I will leave a link in the description box to that song for you. Alrighty? So that's a song that I wish, not I wish, but Vincenzo wished that Elvis had sung, had covered. You never know. Yeah. You never know. Now, there's another thing we do, which is I wish Elvis had sung this song live. And this is actually chosen by Ben Pori. I think you have to pronounce the E on the end of it. P-O-O-R-E. Ben, if you want to tell me it's poor, then please do. But I thought it was Pori. And it's Power of My Love, written by Bernie Baum, Florence Kay, and Bill Giant. Recorded at the famous American Sound Studios sessions in Memphis on February 18th, 1969, between 7:30 and 10:30, over 7 takes. Yep. Just 7 takes. It was released in May of the same year on the critically acclaimed LP from Elvis in Memphis. It kicked off side 2 of the album. Ben told me, "This is an easy one for me, Steve, continuing with my infatuation of the magical year of 1969. It has to be Power of My Love." Imagine that seductive rhythm echoing through the New International Hotel showroom. Elvis stalking the audience in his black herringbone suit. James blasting that amazing riff and the sweet inspirations adding the oohs and ahs. It would have just fit so well with the resurrection of his former material and the release of the new Suspicious Minds in the Ghetto. A more mature and current direction. So what do you think? Do you think that you wish also that Elvis would have included Power of My Love in 1969 or 1970 or any other time? Do you just wish he'd have recorded it live at least once? I'll leave a comment in the section below. And also you can leave your comments if you're watching this on playback. What do you think? Let's do this. Caption the photo. Oh, yes. Caption the photograph. I love this. Yep. A lot of fun every week. And it's this one. And you sent in your captions on the community tab on the YouTube channel. I post one every Monday or Tuesday, and I give you the whole week really to put in your captions, and then people give their favorites the thumbs up, and the one with the most thumbs up gets the shout out. But here's ones that didn't quite make the cut, but were still good ones. I'm hoping to give Priscilla just this much of my money. Charlie told everyone he caught a whopping big fish, but it was tiny, only this big. Here's a clever one. My next song is Little Blister. I mean Little Sister. That was a clever one. Aunt Delta said she saw a huge spider run across her carpet. It was only this big. It was tiny. I have the same trouble here with my daughters. They think, Daddy, it's a huge spider. And it turns out to be a money spider. Dodger, just a little bit more butter. I came this close from my jumpsuit splitting. My next record will be big. Not really. It's only about this big. No bigger than the rest of them. But $20 likes was this one. I don't want much, just a little bit. Don't want it all, just a little bit. Give me an eeny weeny bit, a teeny weeny bit of your love. And of course, that's just a little bit that he recorded at Stax. And that was sent in by Bossa Nova Baby. Thank you very, very much, Bossa Nova Baby. You win it this week. So, of course, we have to, as always, a round of applause. She's the winner this week of Caption This Photo. Right. I introduced something a couple of weeks ago called Mug of the Week. And it was just something I thought you might like to see some of my mugs. Not this mug. I'm sure you see enough of this mug. But I'm cheating this week because it's not a mug. It's a glass. This is the glass of the week, okay? And this is a glass that I got from... Okay, you can see that the shot that was used for his 1956 album, and then you can see the records around it. And some of them, one says Hound Dog, another one says Love Me Tender, Any Way You Want Me, Don't Be Cruel. And then there's also, by his leg, it says Sincerely Elvis Presley. Okay. It doesn't pick it up very well, but I never put that in the dishwasher, and I got that in the shop across the road from Graceland in 2002, and it really is almost as good as new. It really is that good. They were making really, really high quality stuff then. I'm not too sure what the quality of the stuff is like now because I haven't been back to Graceland since then. I know I should, but I haven't. But that's my mug glass of the week. All right. Okay. So there you are. Just a little bit of fun we have, and I'll have to try and pull out another glass of the week or mug of the week next week. Right. Underrated Elvis songs. Yes. This one is suggested by Manfred Boma. Hi, Manfred. I hope I'm saying your surname right. You did give me a little bit of a clue how to pronounce it, but then again, that doesn't mean I'm pronouncing it right. And he has picked Anything That's Part of You. Okay. And he says it's an underrated song. Written by Don Robertson. It was recorded by Elvis on October 15th, 1961 at good old RCA Studio B in Nashville, Tennessee. It was released as the B-side of the number one hit Good Luck Charm. And I'll take that off for a second. Sorry, I beg your pardon. I think I meant to click on that one. Steve, Wake Up. Anything That's Part of You. Good Luck Charm. Well done, Steve. Keep it up. On February 27th, 1962, reaching the top 40 in the US. The song was published by Gladys Music, Inc., Elvis's publishing company. The single peaked at number 6 on the Billboard Easy Listening chart, 31 on the Billboard Hot 100, and 51 on the Cashbox Top 100. The first album appearance was on the RCA compilation Elvis Gold Records Volume 3, which I just gave you a snip of a second ago, which is that one there. And it's the song that Manfred feels is underrated. Anything That's Part of You. Leave your comments below, and of course a link to that if you are unfamiliar with Anything That's Part of You, for any new fans or whatever. Okay. Let's close the poll. Yes, of course, the poll was, how do you think Elvis felt about the Beatles in private? And it goes like this. Okay, the votes are in, and it was respected them 43%, wary of them 40%, and indifferent 17%. Okay, now let's go back and see just to make sure that I've got it right. 42% respected them, 39% wary of them, and indifferent 17%. It does tend to change as people vote. But the final vote, as I close it, is how do you think Elvis felt about the Beatles in private? He respected them 42%, wary of them 39%, and indifferent 17%. Now, if I had to vote on that poll, I would have voted wary of them. I think he was just that little bit wary of them. Now, oh yes, smoking hot. Yeah, I have to do it. I can't keep you waiting any longer. It's the highlight of the ladies' evening. I like to think, but I always keep it till the end. And this is this week's smoking hot photo. Yeah. There you go. July the 4th, 1956, Audubon Drive. He's freshly showered before he did his concert at Russwood Park. I'm going to show you what the real Elvis is like tonight. And, of course, with him that afternoon was the delectable, beautiful, whatever other term I can think of, the lovely Barbara Hearn, who I had the pleasure of speaking to on this channel a couple of years ago. Barbara Hearn Smith, as she's known now, because obviously she married. And if you haven't listened to that interview yet, you will be able to find it on the playlist on this channel. So please do check it out. Barbara Hearn, me speaking to Barbara. And that's this week's Smoking Hot. Brown hair, as real as it gets. Oh, love as baby Elvis, says Priscilla. Edward says sexy. I must admit, I didn't hear any... oh, hang on. It's because I had their fader down, you see. I was going to fade them out, but there they are. They never disappoint me. The screams for the smoking hot. I'd like to thank everybody for supporting this channel. If you do like what you see with this channel, you can buy me coffee as a little thank you for what I'm doing. You can use the link below, or you can scan the QR code, or if you don't like to use Buy Me Coffee, you can make a donation through PayPal and I'll use that to buy coffee. So I'll leave that smoking hot picture up for you there for a second, just to feast your eyes on it. Great callers tonight. I've had a great time. My voice and everything has held up, I'm glad to say. And yeah, thanks very, very much indeed. We will do it all again, same time next week. I hope you can join me again. Or if not, watch on playback. It's just as good, if not better, because you can cut all the boring parts out. No, don't say that. Thanks to Chris for moderating. Thanks to everybody for all the nice comments. I'm just going to say, Al, what have you got to say to me?
Elvis has left the building. Thank you and good night.